Hi everyone, welcome to this video tutorial series on creating EmberJS applications. My name is Sean Goash, and in this video we'll be starting with the EmberJS application I'd like to build. So as you can see, I have PHP Storm open and I am at the home screen. So let's create a new project quickly and let's call it Event Manager. Okay, just an empty project. Just pull it up over here, and this is all we have from PHP Storm. Now that we've installed Ember CLI, all we have to do is go Ember init, and it'll just do everything for us. So there we have it. It's generating the EmberJS application. You might have to wait a couple seconds. Make sure that you're connected to the internet properly and that you don't have a proxy going on or anything like that. In some cases, you might need to configure npm to fetch via SSH, depending on your configuration of your computer. So just give it a second. Alright, so I've now finished installing all the dependencies for the project that it fetched with Ember CLI. And if I open up the tree here, I can see, just give it a second, I can see all the files that have just been generated. So one of the first things I like to do is kind of look through the structure of the application. EmberJS applications are very opinionated in the way that they're structured, so we can see here we have components, controllers, models, routes under the app folder. The reason there's an app folder is because you actually have to say where your source code is versus all of the build tools. This is a heavily dependent tool on other tools, so it really makes sense that you have just a folder for all of your source code. So most of the code that you'll be writing will be in the app folder, and other code will also be in the tests folder if you're doing test-driven development, which we will be. And everything else in the public folder is any of the assets that will be served alongside with the application when you push it live. So in any builds that you create, the public folder will be there as well. So it'll bring any of those files you put in public onto the build. Lastly, not least, node modules and Bower components are part of the build tools that are integrated with Ember CLI. Bower components is for front-end tools like jQuery. If we look here, we've got Ember, which is the front-end tool, Ember CLI shims. These are all things that the browser will need, scripts that the browser will need. Node modules are separate because they run on the server in Node.js, and we can see here we've got CLI Babel. This is what you use to have all your build tools and to compile and minify your JavaScript and CSS and so forth. So remember that distinction. That's going to be important throughout this entire course. Finally, vendor is more of a legacy folder. This is just there because older projects used a folder called vendor, especially in older Ember CLI projects. In the future, I think this will be removed, and so that's not worth looking at. There's also an Ember CLI file which just has the configuration on it, just a JSON-like file, and the get, ignore, and other files below here are just configuration files that will help us to specify project configuration settings such as indentation and so forth. In the next video, I'll show you how I bootstrap the application now that we've looked at the structure.